Episode 2 of the Ahsoka show, Toil and Trouble, is out now. It's a great episode, and we're going to go into my rating of the episode and the positives and negatives. But first, let's break down the plot. Sabine, who was impaled by Shin's lightsaber at the end of episode 1, is in hospital, and as is now Star Wars custom, post Qui-Gon Jinn, lightsaber injuries are non-fatal. She tells Ahsoka about the HK droid that ambushed her, and Ahsoka goes to Sabine's communication tower looking for answers. Meanwhile, Baylan and Shin arrive at a monument on the planet Cetos, which is very much in the image of Stonehenge. Morgan Elsbeth later explains that it was built by an ancient people from a distant galaxy.
This place was not built by the Jedi. Whose work is it?
An ancient people from a distant galaxy.
Back on Lothal, we see two Lothcats in a field outside the communication tower, in what is almost the exact same shot as in the ending 2 minutes of Star Wars Rebels. Ahsoka force walks in Sabine's communication tower, hearing the events of the previous night from Sabine and Shin's fight. One of Shin's HK assassin droids is hiding in the tower, and Ahsoka kills it and brings it to Sabine. Sabine accesses the droid's backup system and finds out that it came from Corellia in a New Republic shipyard that Morgan Elsbeth used to run when the Empire reigned. Ahsoka and Hera head to Corellia to investigate. Morgan arrives on Cetos and activates the star map using her Night Sister's power, and the monument pinpoints a location on the map outside of the known galaxy where Thrawn is located. Baylan calls it the pathway to Peridia. Baylan tells Shin to head to Corellia to assist Maruk with obtaining the final transport needed to journey to Thrawn's location. On Corellia, Hera and Ahsoka go to Morgan's old shipyard. Huyang and Sabine talk about her training under Ahsoka, and Huyang pushes Sabine to restart her Jedi training. Huyang also mentions that Sabine has maybe the lowest force ability of any of the Padawans he's come across over his thousands of years working for the Jedi. On the shipyard in Corellia, Ahsoka and Hera find out that the shipyard is being used by Morgan to construct hyperdrive parts. As Hera and Ahsoka question the overseer of the spaceport, the final vessel transporting hyperdrive components for Morgan's Eye of Sion space station is departing. The workers turn on Hera and Ahsoka, pledging their allegiance to the Empire. Ahsoka heads to the departing ship and is confronted by Maruk and an HK droid. Hera pilots a Phantom, the small ghost detachment ship, and the ever-plucky Chopper manages to place a tracker on a transport ship. Whilst Ahsoka gains the upper hand against Maruk. Shin retrieves Maruk from the fight, and Ahsoka, incredibly nonchalantly, looks at the two Darksiders as they leave Corellia on board Shin's ship. Relieved that Chopper managed to place a tracking beacon on the transport vessel, Ahsoka heads back to her ship, with a plan to follow the transport vessel's location and hopefully find Morgan. Hera helps to gather up those loyal to the Empire at the shipyard, and they are arrested by the New Republic. Back on Lothal, Sabine leaves the hospital, cuts her hair, and suits up in her Mandalorian armor. Ahsoka heads back to Lothal, and Sabine views her mural in a scene taken straight from Rebels. The pair, now renewing their roles as Padawan and Master, head to Cetos. Above Cetos, we see Morgan's space station, the Eye of Sion. Morgan asks Baylan what he can see in the future, and Baylan says that he is concerned about Ahsoka.
Yet her determination is vivid. She is coming.
The episode ends as we see Morgan staring into space, about to begin her journey to the great beyond. Before going over what I liked and what I didn't, here's my ratings for the episode. Plot scores 8, entertainment value 9, characters and performances 8, visuals 10, sound gets a 9, and the ending scores 9. So my overall rating for episode 2 is 88%. So let's look at the positives. I'm loving the relationship between Shin, Baylan and Morgan. Shin seems to really respect her master Baylan and is often looking at him when he is talking to Morgan. Baylan raises questions to Morgan's commands, showing that he's not just following orders blindly from her. He's most certainly got more than one motive for finding Thrawn, and with lines like this,
Kill her. It'll be a shame. There are so few Jedi left.
he's becoming a very intriguing character. Hyun is becoming a favourite character of mine, with his extensive knowledge of Jedis and lightsabers. He's sort of a more intelligent C-3PO, and has lines which are either funny or wise.
I have known many Padawans over the centuries, and I can safely say your aptitude for the Force would fall short of them all.
The music is also fantastic. Kevin Kiner's score was good in episode 1, but the music from all the Star Wars Disney Plus shows are normally at a pretty good level, so I didn't mention Kiner in my episode 1 review. However, the score for episode 2 was great. For those who don't know, Kevin Kiner has been composing the music for Clone Wars and Rebels over many years, as well as Peacekeeper and Doom Patrol, so he's a very experienced composer in and outside of the Star Wars galaxy. And with Kiner at the helm, the action scenes are given such weight when accompanied by his music. And in the quieter moments, the soundtrack is so atmospheric. And although of course, John Williams is synonymous with Star Wars for his legendary soundtracks, I would have no qualms at all if Kiner took over as composer for future Star Wars films, as John Williams is in his 90s anyway, so a passing of the torch is most likely due for the next Star Wars film. Like episode 1, the visuals are phenomenal, with vibrant bright colours and attention to detail making almost every scene pop. To me, it's the biggest positive for Dave Filoni's transition from animation into live action. He has brought the art and creativity of his animated shows, giving Ahsoka the best visuals I've seen from a live action show in a very long time. Now let's look at the negatives I had for the episode. Despite an 88% score, I did have a few issues, mainly concerning Sabine and Hera. Sabine can come off as a bit of a brat at times, but so far it's not too annoying. Hera, on the other hand, is frustrating me most of the time she's on the screen, as she is constantly playing the smirky wisecracker. It doesn't help that her look is the least well transitioned from animation to live action, and I just find her irritating at the moment. I've heard that some people don't think Ahsoka is the most interesting character, saying that she just folds her arms and says very short sentences. But I really enjoy Rosario Dawson's performance. She is stoic, and to me, has so much weight in her movements and dialogue. But Hera is bogging down the dialogue, even with Ahsoka, with moments like this.
I'm sorry. I cannot unseal the document without authorization.
Well, then I'm authorizing it.
I'm not sure you can.
Want to bet?
Baylan, Shin and Morgan are currently more enjoyable to watch than our protagonists, which I don't particularly have a problem with 2 episodes in. And it's about time we have some decent antagonists in a Star Wars show. With Moff Gideon losing every battle he had against Mando, then in the Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane and the Pike Syndicate were very one-note, and Reva in the Kenobi show was awful, and Darth Vader was underused and quite foolish at times in Kenobi. Andor is sort of in its own world compared to the other Star Wars Disney Plus shows, with its more down-to-earth, almost bureaucratic antagonists. So I view it as perhaps more of a plus than a negative, that Morgan, Baylan and Shin are more interesting than Ahsoka, Sabine and Hera. Morgan has a Night Sister, Witch Force powers, and has an almost religious, zealot belief in the great journey to find Thrawn. Baylan and his dynamic with Shin and Morgan, as well as his past as an ex-Jedi, will be interesting to explore further in future episodes. And Shin, as a power-hungry apprentice who wants to impress her master, makes her a very intriguing character. So overall, less Hera and more of Sabine and Ahsoka facing off against Baylan, Shin and Morgan would be what I want from episode 3. Episode 2, in my opinion, was better than episode 1, being better paced and having less setup and more action. It scored 6% higher than episode 1 with an 88% score, and 2 episodes in, my current rating of the show is 85%. On the series leaderboard, Ahsoka is still sitting in 10th place, now with the same score as the Bad Batch Season 2. If this episode is a sign of things to come, then Ahsoka should be breaking into the top 5, which would be very impressive for Filoni's debut live-action show. Compared to other Star Wars Disney Plus shows, Ahsoka is up from my episode 1 review, and is now in joint 5th place above Mando Season 3, Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett. It's very tight in the top 5, with just 5% separating 1st place Andor and Bad Batch Season 2 and Ahsoka in joint 5th place. So what are your thoughts on the episode? How would you rate Ahsoka so far? And is it meeting or even exceeding your expectations? Let me know in the comments below. If you're new here, then perhaps consider subscribing to Film Club. I'll be reviewing every episode of Ahsoka over the next few weeks. Thank you for watching, and see you again.